What's up, military and veterans? The time has come for you to destroy your financial freedom goals, and luckily, there's an event coming up just for you.
The Veterans for Financial Freedom organization is hosting a seminar in San Diego, California this February on financial literacy, entrepreneurship, real estate investing, and some of our Agent Goldmine guests are rocking the stage as speakers.
Get your ticket at veteransforfinancialfreedom.org/Agent Goldmine and take action towards your goals today. Now, enjoy the show. Matt Talent in the house from Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. He works with buyers, sellers, investors. He personally invests in single family, long-term rentals, has an Airbnb at the beach as well, has been in the game for 4 years. And this past year, which is now we're December of 2023, he closed 38 transactions and a little under 11 million in volume.
This is the Agent Goldmine, where you'll find real talk, and ambition. We're here to build real businesses and be more than your average agent. We want to know what the killers are actually doing within their businesses, the reality of it. All tactical, no fluff. So we're here to find out. Please share and enjoy.
Welcome back to the Agent Goldmine, your favorite agent podcast ever. Ali and I are dancing. Matt doesn't know it. Yeah, he's doing it too. Yeah, exactly.
Now.
So he's from Philadelphia. I'm surprised. We should have done that in West Philadelphia. Okay, I need to stop.
You are obligated to play that song every time someone from Philly comes on.
Totally theme song. But okay, so Matt Talent in the house from Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. He works with buyers, sellers, investors. He personally invests in single family, long-term rentals, has an Airbnb at the beach as well, has been in the game for 4 years. And this past year, which is now we're December of 2023, he closed 38 transactions and a little under 11 million in volume. And I've talked to Matt before. He was on the Real Estate Rockstars podcast where we went really deep into, his story in the beginning, and he started out in leasing and all these things. But today, Ali and I want to freaking come to the modern age and talk about what you're doing now, what's working in 2023. So Matt, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be back with you guys.
And I'm happy to meet you, Matt. Let's start
with... nice to meet you. It's our
nice
first
to meet
one
you
together.
Yeah. First of many, Matt. I want to start already with your lead pillars. 38 transactions in 2023. Where are the leads coming from?
And I kind of dive deep on this in the Real Estate Rockstars podcast as well, if you want to reference that too. But really my foundation of my business is my sphere of influence, which is always, I think, the best place to start. If you're from the area, you know people in the area, the people who are most likely to transact with you are the people who already know and trust you, obviously. So really my friends and family, anyone in the area I knew, I was already into investing when I got started as a realtor. So I was already networking with people in the area. And that's kind of why I got my license and went full time, because I was I'm already doing the work outside of my W-2 job. So kind of investing feeds my real estate career, and real estate, being a real estate agent, helps me be an investor as well. So really, I have a sphere of influence plan that I use that I got from Tom Ferry. And basically, I was in leasing in 2020, and then 2021, I went to go full-time buying and selling. So I got a coach at the end of 2020 and kind of told him, I was I don't know anything about sales. I have no natural sales abilities or skills or anything. I thought you had to be a born salesperson. And so they really gave me that plan of, hey, here's a sphere of influence plan to keep in touch with your sphere. And it really just focused on the fundamentals of sales, which is if you're selling anything, you're going to be focusing on the conversations, which will lead to appointments booked. And then your appointments booked will lead to contracts written. Contracts written will lead to contracts accepted. So the sphere of influence was my first pillar. I did open houses, which is a great free way, obviously, to get leads. The investor base as well. I do a great job for my investors and get recurring business that way. And I've been listening to Real Estate Rockstars more and more. So I'm getting into cold calling and circle dialing now that obviously the industry has slowed down a lot. So I'm doing extra things to increase my business.
I would love to know why. Because you're doing such a good business now with Sphere. Why not continue with the Sphere? Where's that pivot there? Or do you see yeah, I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so I think in the residential world, you need maybe three lead pillars. So the foundation of my business is Sphere. I also do like social media every day. I post on social and then the investors. But now that, 2023, a lot of people have slowed down probably, you know, 25 to 35% on average. So you have to increase your efforts around 50%, I think, to do the business that you were doing. So the last couple of years, I was doing 20 real estate conversations a day. That would lead to 8 to 10 appointments a week. And from that, I would write 2 contracts. I'd get 1 contract accepted. So now I'm doing 30 conversations a day. I'm stepping up my efforts 50% every day to book those same 8 to 10 appointments every week. You really have to like step it up this year. And I think 2024 too, even though we had a really good Fed meeting yesterday and rates have already dropped like a ton, they were at 8% now. I'm seeing FHA stuff at percent, but I think 2024 is, we're still going to be down on transactions as well. So I think you need to do the things that, in 2020, 2021, we couldn't even do open houses because stuff was selling so quickly. Now stuff is sitting a little bit longer and you have those opportunity to do open houses every weekend again.
Can I dig more into the Sphere plan, going back to the SOI plan? What specifically do you have on there? And would you potentially be willing to share like the actual plan with us? Or just a template, I guess, if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I will send that to you guys. But yeah, it's really a pretty basic like system. It's not like anything high tech, but it's just a 13-week plan. So you basically reach out to 2 letters every week. And over the course of 13 weeks is a quarter. So you're basically touching like your whole database every quarter. So week one, you're like making calls to people with the name A and B. You're writing handwritten notes to people with the name S and T, and then you're texting people with the name I and J. And it's staggered. So you're basically like touching these people 4 times a quarter. So you really like just keep in touch with people. And it's not like super salesy. Hey, do you want to buy a house? It could just be like, hey, we bought your house a year ago. Like, how's everything been? How are you settling in? It could be if you know someone who like maybe they're in their dream home, they never want to move. Hey, do you need any contractors for your projects? I know a lot of good people in the area because I'm a realtor, but also an investor as well. Just making those touch points, people will be like, you know what? I don't need any right now, but thanks for reaching out. And those conversations spur into like, hey, my brother's actually looking to buy a house, or my dad's looking to move down here. So all those natural conversations just turn into you staying top of mind and people just remember you. And a lot of people feel weird about reaching out to their sphere of influence, but I put it this way. As a real estate investor, if I had a plumber or a contractor who reached out to me every 4 weeks or every quarter and was like, hey, Matt, I'm still doing plumbing in the Philadelphia area. Do you know anyone that may need a plumber? I'd be like, oh my God, like this would be a lifesaver for me if I had contractors that were like that. So I think of it in that context, because obviously as a realtor, we think of it as, oh, we're being pushy and salesy. But if you're just like keeping in touch with people and asking them what they need, I don't ask people to buy and sell houses. I just try to keep in touch with them and add value to them. You'll be top of mind when they go do a real estate transaction or have a family or friend who needs to.
Dude, and the more you do it, the less weird it feels. Like I feel
Yeah.
like when I come back after not doing it for a while, I'm like, ugh. And then like after, a couple days of consistent follow up and checking in, I'm like, the well-oiled machine comes right back into play.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can think of like your people who are buying right now. I just bought a house. We closed in like the end of October. I think I got the worst rate I've ever seen of 7.62%. So thinking of like the people who are buying now, I'm going to be texting them next year and being like, hey, this is where rates are at now. If in case you want to do a refinance, like just letting you know. So I'll be keeping in touch with those people. like all those ways. So it's just like little value add things that you can do for your clients.
And Matt, it sounds like so simple. Someone's in the car and they're listening to this and they're like, yeah, touching these people consistently. I got this. And then they like sit down and they're like, wait, what CRM does he use? Is he calling from his CRM? Am I texting these people? Am I DMing? Am I actually handwriting these cards or am I using like an automated system? So could you like hit me with any of that?
Yeah. So when I started, I was doing the whole plan and then I became busier. So I really just text to keep in touch with them now. Like I'll text my clients once a quarter. So I don't really do the handwritten notes or anything anymore because I don't have as much time. But like that first year, like I wrote, I don't even know, like 300 handwritten notes and I got one deal out of it. But that's still one deal I didn't have. And for texting, like for my CRM, I'm just using Command, which is Keller Williams CRM. And it's literally, I came from Compass, so I'm still getting used to it. But it's very, like, it's not high tech. I would just say I use it as a phone book to keep track of the people in my database. And then for handwritten notes, like, I was just handwriting them myself. There's actually a company that my company has been recommending called Scribe. So they have a whole system set up. But let's say you wanted to farm a market, Scribe will handwrite the notes for you and send them out to that market. So there are like other alternatives to it. You can buy like AI handwriting machines that hold a pen and write the notes for you. So there's a lot of different like solutions out there.
How okay, so you're using commands and I forgot, are you texting from command? You said just a phone book, so you're not like actually texting from it.
Yeah, I just text from my phone. And then
Okay,
it's kind of nice because like I can see the last conversation we had.
it's all right there. So then when you
Yeah.
forget and you're like, I have no idea who this person is, you can just scroll up. Got it.
Yeah.
How many, so it's sphere of influence is like your primary pillar and has been. How much time per day are you spending towards these text touch points? How much time of your day is lead gen?
Thank you for listening. Out of respect for your time, we want to make this show as valuable as possible for you. So if you have any feedback on how we can improve, please let us know. DM us at Ali the Agent and The Shelby Show.
Yeah. So I would say I probably spend like maybe a half hour to an hour like texting people every day. And then social media, I probably spend like a half hour to an hour on. And now like cold calling is becoming a bigger part of my day. So I'm trying to get up to 2 hours a day doing cold calling. I've not been great at it, but ever since I heard that podcast you guys did with Greg McDaniel, I was like, I need to start doing this.
He's a
So
monster.
yeah, like it's bananas. I was talking with him for hours about his systems and everything. But a lot of the like successful people are cold calling and it's the thing that no one wants to hear. But if you want to force success and get those conversations up, if I'm at 30 conversations today, I'm probably not going to cold call. But if I'm short on conversations, I'll just start cold calling people until I hit my number. So I really try to stick to that like conversation goal every day.
We have the sphere of influence. You're doing 30 minutes to an hour a day. You're using your CRM as your phone book to just systematically touch base with people. And then you also mentioned social media, which I have pulled up, listeners. It is Call Philly Home on Instagram is Matt's page. And can you talk us through your strategy with your social media content?
Yeah, so I just try to do the same thing every week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I try to post a reel. And then like Tuesday, Thursday, I'll do like a social proof post. It could be anything like just listed, just sold, under contract. I got a good client review. That's like my Tuesday to Thursday thing where I just post a picture. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm like doing reels about, it could be anything. It could be like a market report, stuff about real estate investing, which like I have a ton of long-term rentals, short-term rentals, Airbnb. Like I try to put in some posts about like fixing up properties and stuff like that. So I really try to do a good mix and just educate people of sometimes I get in the weeds. I'm like, most people aren't there yet. So I try to go back to just the basic stuff. And some of my best posts are like, hey, here's how you buy your first 3 to 5 properties. So really just sticking to the basics, because I think sometimes we as like investors, and we do this every day. So we're like, oh, I need to put this super complicated thing out there. But most people don't relate to that. And most people are just like, hey, how do I buy my first property? How do I buy? I didn't know you could put 5% down on your second property, or I didn't know you could buy investment properties for 15% down. So all those little things like that we gloss over because we've learned it 5 years ago. A lot of people still don't know that. I've been trying to like keep in touch with my audience and just think about what would be useful to them.
Dude, I struggle with that so hard, or at least I have. Like in the past 30 days, I have been having putting a lot of thought into the reels that I've been creating. And it's like stuff that I've struggled with and put a lot of thought into and reflected and had years to come to this like little nugget that I think is so powerful. And no one fucking cares. And then I'll post some
Yeah.
bull about like year one in real estate and there's so many likes and like all of this like engagement and I'm like, wow, clearly no
Yeah.
one likes what I am thinking is really valuable and I need to just stick to the
Right.
basics here.
Yeah. Yeah, those were always the best episodes on the Bigger Pockets podcast where the guy who started from nothing and then he like grew a normal size portfolio, not like the person who's I have 10 million real estate units. I'm like a star. It's like these normal people who are like, I quit my W-2 job and then I bought, I don't know, 10 rentals and here's how you do it. Because that's where most people are at. They're not trying to buy 50,000 rental units.
What social media platforms are you on aside from Instagram?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, which is like the one everyone's on. LinkedIn, which like most people gloss over, but it's a great source. And there's if you go on LinkedIn, it's all you should buy life insurance. Here's like recruiting stuff. It's all life insurance and recruiting stuff. So if they see real estate, like real estate's a fun topic, you set yourself out from other people. So it's really great place to set yourself apart. And I've actually gotten like I would just friend random people on LinkedIn who I was like, oh, they went to my university. This person went to my high school. And I've gotten leads from people who were like, hey, I don't know how I know you, but I think we went to Bloomsburg together and they ended up buying a house with me. So it's not like a ton of leads, but again, it's like something where it may take me a half hour to post on social every day. And if I get a couple leads from social media every year, those are like, 3 or 5 leads I didn't have before.
For sure. And your Instagram, I haven't been on your LinkedIn yet, but your Instagram looks very put together. Are you doing these yourselves? Or are you yourselves? Are you using Canva or like a team? My Instagram is not cute. Yours is cute.
Yes, I try. So I use Canva and then the Captions app. So the Captions app's awesome because a lot of people will pay like $2,400 to get their social media edited every month, or they're paying $4,000 a month. But it really isn't that hard. Like I'll just shoot a video, I'll put it in the Captions app, and then it does the captions for you, adds in emojis, and then you can click like AI images, so it'll add in like those images you see just based off words that I said. And that takes me like 5 minutes to do the whole thing. So it's really like simple to use. And it looks like I really spent a lot of time putting it together. But once you like shot the video, it takes 5 minutes. So it's really easy to use. And like another thing about social media too, like I kind of look at it as like a triangle almost. So let's say like I go to a club I'm a part of, a gym or whatever. And so I never really bring up real estate to people in person. But let's say I join a gym and I meet like Shelby at the gym and I go home, I'm like, oh, like I'm going to friend her on Facebook. And now she sees my real estate stuff, but she never likes or comments on any of my real estate stuff. But the next time I see her in person, she's, hey, by the way, I see you're in real estate. Like me and my husband are actually looking to buy our first house. I'm like, oh, great. That's awesome. Let's set up a buyer consultation. So a lot of the stuff with social media, like you may think like no one notices it because none of my friends like or comment on my stuff. But when I see them in person, like the conversations, and I never talk with them about real estate. So I know they're seeing the social media. So when I see them out at like parties and stuff, they're like, hey, like our lease is up in July and we're actually thinking about buying our first house. And we know you're in real estate. So like one, it's a way to for your friends to bring up real estate to you. And then two, it's like your resume of, hey, I actually know what I'm doing. Like you're proving yourself every day.
I am curious about your 38 transactions this year. Were Like, can you talk us through like struggles? Because I think based on when we talked on rock stars, like the year before, did you do 56?
Yeah, I did around, yeah, between pending and closed, D5.
Okay, gotcha. And that kind of goes into the what you were talking about in the beginning about the shrinking 25 to 30% just reduction across the board. But can you talk about your 38 this year? Did they all come from sphere of influence and social media? And then I guess that is a quick yes or no. And then leading into struggles or within your business, how your business is operating. And I don't really know, Ali, am I asking a good question? Does this making sense at all? Can you just talk about
Yeah.
this year?
So yeah, this year was like really tough for a lot of agents. And we have probably, I'm just a solo agent. Like I have my own team that I'm starting, but it's just me right now. But at the office I'm at, we have 400 agents. And so we do like monthly team meetings, and we probably have, I don't know, anywhere from 50 to 60, 70 agents come to these meetings. And so a lot of people are down in their business, like anywhere I'd say from 20 to 40%. And it's been a really tough year for agents. And a lot of our team leaders and Mike McCann, he was like the number one agent in America for I don't know how many years, but he's very successful. And a lot of the agents I'm talking to are super depressed this year because they're coming off 21, 22, which were super busy years. And now like 23 was a super like tough year. And so a lot of agents are feeling, I think, stagnated. They don't know what to do in their business. And just from a personal experience, like this was a really tough year. I had $3 million worth of deals fall out of contract. So that's $3 million of business. Like I would have been at $14 million in sales, but it fell out of contract. And just crazy stuff. Like I had one that was going to be my biggest deal. It was a development site, and it was supposed to be like we could build 38 units on it. And then literally the day it went out under contract, they changed the zoning in the neighborhood for how many units you could put on that. So just like crazy stuff like that happens that came out of nowhere in 2023. And then another super successful agent in my brokerage, he probably does like 100 million by himself. I was in a meeting with him, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but deals are like twice as hard to get done in 2023 because in 21, it may have been you have a bad inspection and maybe you need a furnace and a new roof, but you're like, you know what, this deal is still so good because the interest rate's 2.6%. Yeah, I'm going to buy it anyway. But now it's, if you have a bad inspection and your rate's 7%, you're like, I just can't afford to do this. It just doesn't make sense. I think there was a record this year too for deals falling out of contract as well. But yeah, I think a lot of people have struggled in the real estate industry. And that's kind of why I'm like taking more action than I ever have before. I can't control what the economy is, but I can control how much action I take. And I've buckled down a lot. I start waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I get to the office at 7. I do my 30 real estate conversations every day. I was not doing open houses. I'm doing 2 open houses again, 1 or 2 every weekend now. Trying to implement like cold calling and circle dialing because I don't know what 24 will look like. So I'm trying to force success and make sure like I can keep that business up.
I would love to talk about coaching. You said you got a Tom Ferry coach in 2020, I believe. I want to know the process of finding a coach for you because I feel like it's very similar to therapists. You can get along with some, and there are others are like, I don't know why are we even here? How
Yeah.
many coaches have you had? Have you had to switch? And at what point would you say that it's someone, that it's on you just have to take what they're saying versus finding the coach that you think is the right fit, you know?
Yeah. So I've been lucky. Like I got one coach and I've been with him for 3 years now. Shout out Todd. And he's been awesome. But I have had a lot of people who've joined like coaching and they're like, I don't like my coach. Like we just didn't fit or vibe or anything. So I always recommend Todd. But yeah, I think with coaching, you have to find someone who allows you to follow your strengths. So when I got started in coaching, like we built it off my sphere, which I was really comfortable with. And then I was trying to build my business more. And he was like, let's do FISBOs and expireds. And I did it for 6 months. And I was like, I'm starting to hate coming to work every day. I just don't like cold calling. And he was like, okay, well, what's something else you want to focus on? So I put my effort into social media. So I think you need someone like who will play to your strengths, because some of these coaching people are all like, you need to cold call and that's the only way. But there's a lot of other things you can do. You can do open houses, social media, sphere, events, things like that. That maybe if you're better interacting with people in person, do like events. So I think what I've noticed with Todd is like he will play to my strengths and let me do what I feel comfortable with. I've had other people try to coach me before, and the conversation is, okay, here's what you need to do to be successful. Instead of with Todd, it's he asks questions the whole time. And if I'm not, let's say I'm not doing my conversations, he'll be like, okay, well, like, why don't you think you hit your conversation goal this week? So the whole time he's asking questions and getting feedback instead of just pushing me like, okay, this is what you need to do. I'm experienced. You're not, like, just do this and you'll be successful. So I think the right coach will play to your strengths and ask you questions instead of just telling you what to do.
And how often are you meeting with your coach? And what does a coaching call look like?
Originally, I was like part of the Tom Ferry core program, which is like 650 a month and maybe 700 a month now. And then in 2022, I upgraded to Elite. So it's like 1200 bucks a month. And we meet every week now. So before we even have the call, he'll send me an email to be like, what were your wins this week? Did you make all your commitments you said you were going to make last week? And what do you need from me? Or what are you struggling with? So we'll open up the call. Even before that, I'll put in all my numbers to the Tom Ferry system of like conversations and appointment, hours of power, which are lead generation. So I'll put all those numbers in. So when we have the call, it's like really efficient. It's a half-hour call every week. And we'll basically be like, oh, great job on the wins. Now let's talk about what you need to talk about. And we'll go over in the beginning of the year, business plan, everything like that. So if I'm off track, or like I'm usually off track, I usually have goals, but I'm like, no one's 100% perfect. So we'll go over, hey, you said you were going to do 100 conversations this week. You only did 80. Let's talk about that. So it's very, it changes every week. But a lot of people, like, they'll be like, hey, why don't you just quit coaching? Because you kind of learned everything that you need to learn now. But I'm like, if I quit now, I'm going to stay at $10 million in sales or $12 million in sales. But I want to grow a team and get bigger. So now we're having like bigger and bigger conversations.
I am curious with Todd. So do you think that you'll be able to grow with him with coaching? I'm curious about the different conversations between solo agent and now that you're going into next year with the coaching. Like now that you're going next year into team building, how is the coaching evolving?
Yeah, so it's a lot more about like who, not how, kind of like the Ben Hardy thing, but it's about more so getting your systems in place. Maybe you're not ready to hire someone now, but can you systematize everything that you do in the business? So that's something we've been doing, is like putting together all my systems, getting prepared to hire like an assistant or VA. And then what does the next 3 years look like, and making that happen. So a lot of people, I think when they start their teams, they're like, hey, I'm starting Matt Talent Real Estate team. Who wants to join me? And then 10 people join their team and it's a mess. And a lot of the advice I've gotten is, I did have people who asked to join my team, but a lot of the advice I've gotten is, don't hire anyone yet, maximize your own production, get your systems down, hire an assistant and make that your first hire. And it could be a VA or it could be like a full blown assistant. And then if you want to, like, maybe bring on agents. But a lot of the top performers, like Jim Onesti, he does 100 million a year in new construction in Philly. Like, he doesn't even have agents under him. He has 3 administrative positions. There's another person, she does $22 million a year by herself. She has a couple administrative people. So a lot of times, I think kind of the older model was just hire as many agents as you can, and you'll get to 50 agents. And then people, I think, get burned out, the agents leave. And I think now, like, a lot of people are, at least from what I've learned, like moving towards this very lean model of hiring admins and supporting them instead of focusing on 10 other people.
Totally.
100%. Yeah. Is that the reason why you left your other brokerage to join Keller Williams?
Yo, real quick, this podcast is not free. Cost of admission is sharing with a buddy who'd benefit or throwing it on your Instagram story. Tag us, we'll reshare that.
Yeah, so at my old brokerage, like they were great. Like when I started, great brokerage, taught me a lot about investing, but they weren't set up for kind of the Compass model isn't set up if I was part of your team at Compass. You can't start your own team under their team. It's very hard to do. But with Keller Williams, if I'm under an office, I can start my own team here. I can be a solo agent. I can really do whatever I want. So the Keller Williams model is just set up much better for that. And I kind of lucked out because the split also was much better here. So with Keller Williams, you're paying a cap instead of at Compass, you're paying a split in perpetuity. So if you're a solo agent, I think it may be like 90% split, and then you have a 6% administrative fee. So you may be like topping out at 84%. Whereas like Keller Williams, you have a cap. So once you hit that commission cap, you paid them, you keep 100% of your commissions. So my sales are down this year. I'm actually going to make more this year with less sales because of my fee structure. And that was one of the things like I talked through with my coach. I was like, do you think this makes sense? And we ran through the numbers. So it really helps to like have someone to bounce those business decisions off of, because otherwise it's like, who else do you talk to about these important business decisions?
Yeah, dude. I mean, talk to them. I want to know what your team split is going to be, or the team that you're creating.
Yeah.
Formal team. I forget if you said what are the splits going to be like. What do you envision for the team?
Yeah, so I really want to have a pretty small team, like just an administrative person and then like a buyer's agent eventually who can help me with one, like buyers, two, like my own rental portfolio, like doing the turnovers, renting it out, and then handling all the rental business that I get as well. So kind of like those three things. And then I'll handle like the listing side of the business.
I forgot to ask earlier. Your the percentage of buyers, sellers, investors that you work with. Do you mainly work with investors, or what does that breakdown look like?
So I'd say it's mostly my sphere, probably like 60 to 70% of sphere. And then maybe the rest is social media and investors and like open houses from the other 30%. Probably like mostly
Good.
buyers, like maybe 60% buyers and the rest are sellers.
Which one do you like better?
I mean, sellers are obviously a lot easier to work with. I love them both, but listings are obviously much easier. So, yeah, you can leverage your time a lot more.
I want to talk about your tech stack, and then we'll probably go looking ahead and then wrap up in a second. But like, you have Command, of course. What other pieces of technology are you using in your business?
I'm a pretty simple person. I don't have, I guess, well, HomeBot is actually a really good one.
Oh my God. I was just talking about that today, dude. Do you use that for your follow? I feel like it's such a genius idea. Like just setting that for a really automated, personalized, your own branding follow up. That's so
Yeah,
smart.
I think it's one of the best apps for the money. I had an agent in my office and he's really successful. I was, hey, what are you doing? And that was one of the things he told me about. So HomeBot's awesome. It'll like if I set you up on HomeBot and I know you live at 123 Main Street, it'll show up and give you like an evaluation of, hey, here's the market analysis for your home every month. Here's what your neighborhood is looking like. Like it went up 5% this month. By the way, like you owe this much on your home. You should get rid of the PMI that you have on your mortgage. So it's really an email, not about like me as an agent. Like it doesn't talk about me at all. It just talks about the client. And every one of my clients loves it. Some people are like, it's my favorite email I get every month. My open rate's probably like 80%, which is really good for email. So all the clients like it a lot. Something you can do is take a link and be like, hey, if you want to keep track of your home value and neighborhood value, like you can put that on Facebook or like postcards so people can sign up for it too. So there's a lot of different things like that. And then coming from Compass to Keller Williams, like Compass basically does everything for you and they have really great technology. I think their technology is probably the best in the real estate industry. And so coming from Compass to Keller Williams, like one of the things I added in was Real Scout. So it's $40 a month. And it's basically a replacement for Compass collections. So if I know you want to be in Havertown and you're looking at 3-bed houses, 1 bath, I can set you up with your own collection of a place to kind of save all the homes that meet your criteria. And Real Scout's basically like a really good replacement for that. So that's $40 a month. And it's really cool because you can see what your clients are looking at too. If I haven't talked to you in a while and I see it pop up like, hey, they just checked out a house and you haven't talked to them in 6 months, you're like, okay, I should text this person and be like, hey, I know we haven't talked in a while, but have you thought about starting up your home search again? And so, well, yeah, we actually just saw this property, 123 Main Street. We're not ready to buy right now, but can we check it out? And those little conversations add up over time. So that's a really good one too. So yeah, HomeBot, Real Scout, and then just I have a very low tech habit tracker on my iPhone. That's $5 for the year that I just use to track my habits every day. So like I said, very low tech, but they're very like impactful systems.
Nice. I have a specific question about HomeBot. It was something that my agent before I was licensed put me on. Is there a way to edit the value? Because I could tell that the value, just for my specific instance, was not correct. It was almost pretty similar to Zillow with the
Yeah.
inaccuracy. So, is there a way to modify that to make it a little bit more accurate? And for agents that don't know, this is something that a lot of lenders already have. I I see this pretty often where like lenders buy it in like packages. So ask your preferred lender if they already have a HomeBot account. They can give you one of their 10 to 12 slots for free, and that's a great way to partner with someone. So if you don't catch the email or the notification saying, Sally that you sold a house to last year just opened up an email, maybe your lender will. So it's two brains working on the same client, if that makes sense. But yeah, can you edit?
Yeah, so you can edit it to a point, but not like I had a house that I bought and renovated, and I think it's worth 550 now, but like the most I can tune the value to is so it's kind of flawed, but that's also kind of a good thing in a way because I had a client who their house was like it said their house was like $700,000 and they were like, is this correct? Is our house really worth 700? And I'm like, look, it's a ballpark value, but let me come over, check out the house. I'll give you like a closer estimate. So it got me a listing appointment. We talked. They ended up buying $1 million house and I rented that house out for them. So that was like the first week I had HomeBot. And I haven't had anything like that happen yet, but I did have another one of the agents I work with. She signed up for it. She got a couple $1 million listings from it, just from her sphere of people. Like it starts conversations and then you can turn that into listing appointments and sales down the road. But yeah, I think it's probably one of the best like things you can do for $25 a month.
Dude, for sure. I'm really sold on it. I'm not even selling. And I'm
Yeah,
like, this is great. Everyone should do it.
it really is. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, Matt. So last question before we had to wrap up is what did we not cover? What are you like? I want to talk about this and we didn't hit on it at all. The listeners need to know.
Yeah. So what I would say is the conversations I hear, like a lot of people ask me for advice in the office and or just in general about real estate. And it's not like rocket science, obviously, but it's the fundamental thing. So I think a lot of people see successful people and they're like, they must have this Zillow source of leads that they just sit back all day at their house and then they do a listing appointment for $1 million. And I try to do the same things every day. So a lot of the business like comes down to the fundamentals of business, which is like waking up early. I try to wake up at 5 a.m. now, get to the office at 7, stick to my 30 conversations a day, and just do the same thing every day. And the days that I come in early, like we've all had those days where it's like I woke up at 8 o'clock by accident. I got to the office and I had 20 emails I had to answer. My phone's blown up about this deal. But the days like when you're in the office early and someone like is like, hey, I'm thinking about buying this house. You have the time to set up the buyer consultation or listing consultation. But when you come in the office and you're like frantic, you miss those opportunities. If I was to tell anyone like how to be successful, it's like just focusing on those, just the fundamental things of waking up early, getting to the office, actually go to an office and work instead of working from home if you're trying to grow your business. Because there's a lot of people who are like, I don't need to go to the office. It's okay, but I do because I can't concentrate at home. I'm too all over the place if I work from home. So it's really just the fundamental things. And it's kind of like that quote from the Gary Keller book, when I put the man together, the world fell into place. Like a lot of business is just putting yourself together and doing the basic stuff. And then you allow for the business to fall into place.
Thanks for sharing that, Matt. I want to head to our wrap-up questions now. We did talk a lot about, the tech that you're using, but overall in either your business or your personal life, what is your favorite app or tool?
Apple listeners, this short pause is to ask you for a review. Here's how to do it. Back out of the specific episode, go to the page where you see all the episodes, scroll down, keep scrolling. Perfect. Now tap those 5 stars. Thank you so much. Back to the show.
I love my Kindle app. Just reading books on Kindle is like super easy. It's not really an app, but I love like reading books on Kindle and just having it on my iPad. It makes it super easy. And then I would say too, the Habit Tracker app is also super cheap. It's $5 for the year. But I put in all my habits of I want to work out every day, eat healthy, have 30 conversations, wake up at 5, do my morning routine. So very basic, but just the Habit Tracker app on iPhone.
And because you mentioned books, I have to ask, for real estate sales, which has been your favorite so far?
I would say 2x is easier, or no, 10x is easier than 2x. That's another Ben Hardy book. I would say I'll give 2. So 1, 10x, and 2, 10x is easier than 2x. I think 10x is easier than 2x is probably like one of the best business books I've read ever. And I think 10x by Grant Cardone also sets the expectations of what you have to do in business. So he talks about, you'll hear people all the time who they're like, I post on social media once last week and I didn't get a listing. And I've been posting for 5 days a week for 3 years. You have to, whatever action you think you need to take, you need to quadruple it or times it by 10. And that's kind of what he talks about in that book and sets the expectations of if you're in business for yourself, it's so much harder and you need to do so much more work than you think you need to do. Like there's a lot of people call and they're like, I called 3 people today, or I went on 2 appointments this week. If you have the ability to, like, you need to go on 10 appointments a week and you need to call 30 people a day. So I think that book has a really good way of setting expectations of what you actually need to do to be successful.
Especially if you're listening to him on Audible or whatever, Grant Cardone in your ear for that book it's some powerful
It's amazing. He's just cursing at you for 10 hours.
Yeah, no, and I really do appreciate it. I read it before the GrowthCon. I went to Grant Cardone's GrowthCon. This was back when our community, 5 Pillars, was like just a baby. It was the first conference we ever went to, and we went down and got Grant he actually skydived. He jumped out of a plane he did, quote unquote. I still don't really believe it was him, but they like made it whatever. It was like crazy, but it really pumped me up for years to come. Speaking of events, Matt, what events are you planning on going to in 2024, if any?
So I'm not going on to any events in 2024. I'm not traveling in 2024. I'm chilling. I traveled a lot the last couple of years. There's one in Philly I'm going to. It's like a local real estate conference. But yeah, I'm looking forward to chilling, not traveling in 2024. But I would like to eventually maybe go to like 10X conference or like the Bigger Pockets real estate conference. One of those. We'll see.
Definitely. Let us know if you're there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How can Shelby and I and the listeners help you in your business?
Yeah, so if you know anyone like moving to Philly or the surrounding suburbs, like I'm always happy to help. If you want to learn about coaching or anything like that, or just sales in general, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm always happy to help people. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And remind people where they can find you online.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me on Instagram at Call Philly Home or on LinkedIn just at Matt Talent. I'm always happy to help. I reach out to people all the time for real estate help. So I've reached out to every person and everyone's always been super helpful to me. So I'm happy to pass it forward.
Perfect. Do that. Reach out to him. And listeners, of course, reach out to us too. We are Ali, the agent, and the Shelby Show on the gram. We want to talk to you. We want to know how to improve, what subjects you want us to deep dive into. We don't want to just babble over here just to babble. We're not taking up time and space in the universe for no reason. We're here for you, but we don't know what you want unless you tell us. So please do that. Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show today. And listeners, this is for you. Be a bro and share this show. Talk about this year.
No, definitely. I got you.
Jesus.
I got you.
Okay, good. Us.
Yeah. I'll call you guys up.
Dude, did you run the numbers?
Mic drop.
I love it.
Yeah, mic drop, sorry.
Thanks so much for listening, dude. If you want the golden nugget that this guest provided, see the show notes or just go straight to theagentgoldmine.com. That's where we keep all our resources for you. Till next time.